Services. Next, City Manager Amy Leone will give us an update.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, a couple of things for you this evening. I want to start out with our mission statement, which is to provide exemplary experiences, services, and spaces that create opportunities for everyone to learn, engage, and thrive. So you are aware, and the public is aware, that we are going to be outsourcing our utility bills. So the utility bill that you receive in the mail as of January will look a lot different than the small postcard that you have that you may be getting in the mail right now. We will be doing some social media postings and working with the media partners to help us communicate that to people, but my understanding is it will be a full-page document now in an envelope. It's actually going to be less expensive for us to send. We can put more in terms of inserts in, and I think that you can opt out, is that correct, of getting your bill? So for those folks that don't like the paper, they can opt out of that as well. So more information to come on that, but I just want to start talking about that so that people are aware that that's going to look differently. And for those of us that do get utility bills, to look for that different bill in January. Next week, Mayor Johnson and Commissioner Schramm and I will be attending the National League of Cities Conference, so I'll be getting information out to those two regarding specific travel, but we'll be there. Looks like a lot of good and exciting opportunities for learning, and we'll bring back hopefully some good stuff and good ideas for Yankton as well. We are passing around the sign-up sheet for the Christmas party, which is December 6th. You do not have to commit today, but I won't see you again personally probably until past our deadline. So if you think you do want to go, sign up tonight, add your +1 if you'd like. If you're not sure, you can let Colleen or I know in the next couple weeks. Also, very important is that it's Mayor Johnson's birthday today, so happy birthday to the mayor, and there are some chocolate cupcakes up front there as you leave. Take one in celebration of Mayor Johnson's birthday. And finally, all those tickets I've sold Jake have paid off. Jake won the Rotary football game this week, so if somebody wants to assign him treats, that would be fine with me. That's all I have unless there's questions for me.
Are there any questions for the city manager? Thank you, Amy, for that. Next is public appearances. This is a time when members of the audience with something they want to address the commission about that is not on tonight's agenda can step to the podium. Seeing no movement in the audience, we will move on to the consent agenda. So number 1 is setting a date of November 25th at 6 p.m. in room number 114 of the Regional Technical Education Center for the next work session of the Yankton City Commission, and that will be to discuss the future of the 1929 water plant. Number 2, setting December 6, 2019 for a possible quorum event, and that will be the City of Yankton Christmas party, during which there will be no official action. And finally, number 3 is establishing November 25th as the date for the public hearing on the request for a special events on-sale liquor license for December 10th, 2019 from the Chamber of Commerce for an event at First Dakota National Bank at 225 Cedar Street. What is your pleasure?
Move the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on these items? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on these items? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on to old business. Number 1 is consideration of memorandum 19-231 regarding consideration of the applications for renewal of alcoholic beverage licenses for the 2019, that is January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020 licensing period. What is your pleasure?
I'll move the memorandum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this item? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Benson.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Purdy.
Aye.
Hoffner.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Moser.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Motion passes. Moving on to new business. Number 1 is consideration of memorandum 19-230 and resolution 19-64 regarding purchase of a 2020 Ford Explorer for $29,471 for the Community and Economic Development Department. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this item? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Aye.
Purdy.
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Strahm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 2 under new business is consideration of memorandum 19-232 and resolution 19-63 regarding a water meter fee annual adjustment. What is your pleasure?
Move the memo.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Al, can you describe for the public this change in policy, please?
Currently, we set prices, we try and do it annually. If we forget, it gets a little bit longer. One of the reasons why we want to try and do this administratively. What this is setting the fee for the physical meter that plumbers / businesses pay when they sign up for water, or I shouldn't say sign up for water. That's a little bit further down the line. This is for when they first start building and need to access water and get it on the system. So it's really important for the larger size meters, especially for the commercials, because there's a lot of fluctuation in prices from year to year. And by doing it this way, we hope to take out the loss, so to speak, by doing it later than what they've purchased. So we're going to try, we'll stay at cost, but it'll be an actual cost instead of a cost of a year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Is there any commission discussion on this item? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Purdy.
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Strahm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Sargent.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 3 under new business is consideration memorandum 19-235 and resolution 19-66 regarding the safety manual. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Amy, did you want to give the public an idea of the highlights of these changes?
Sure. At the City of Yankton, we like to say safety is no accident. So all of our employees are committed to safety, not just for themselves and their respective places of work, but for their coworkers and for the public. We've been recognized recently at the South Dakota Municipal League for earning a gold level safety award, and that's partially due to the Safety Committee's work. That committee is chaired by Adam Haberman. Sue Hansen serves on the committee along with Jason Foote, Kristen Yonke, Tom Kurtenbach, Dwayne Shantz, Dylan Goebel, and Brian Frick. We have a safety manual that guides our work, and we update it every few years to make sure that the policies are in place, so we have some best practices for the work that we do. It's not exhaustive, of course. We can't put safety standards in for everything or everything that could happen, but we have some basic policies, as you saw there, on lifting, using certain equipment, bloodborne pathogens, those types of procedures, and even how to report accidents. So we've worked the last 6 months to update this safety manual. We're pleased with it. This is part of our employee handbook as well as our collective bargaining agreement. So we're recommending that you approve the updated safety manual for the City of Yankton.
Commission, any questions about these changes? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Strahm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Sargent.
Aye.
Purdy.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 4 under new business is consideration of memorandum 19-233 and resolution 19-65 regarding the shared phone system with Yankton County in the safety center, and the city's share of this system would be $9,855.96. What is your pleasure?
Move the memorandum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Minor.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Schron.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Burdick.
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye, motion passes. Number 5 under new business is consideration of memorandum 19-234 regarding the 21st Street project closeout. My understanding is there is an update to the memo, so the final check to masonry components would actually be $143,408.23, and the final cost of the project would be approximately $958,000. What is your pleasure?
Move to approve the memorandum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this item? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Mosier.
As amended. Aye.
Schron.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Burdick.
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye, motion passes. Number 6 under new business is consideration of memorandum 19-236 regarding amending the Parks Advisory Board bylaws. What is your pleasure?
I'll move the memorandum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Todd, could you give the public an overview of what these changes would be? Thank you.
Currently, we meet once a month on the first Monday of the month, and we do meet all 12 months of the year unless something comes up and we have to cancel a meeting. Again, it is just an advisory board, so they can make recommendations to the city commission, but the city commission can take or leave the recommendation. In talking with how we run operations, we've had some discussion with the Park Advisory Board guidelines on the day of the month that we meet, the day of the week that we meet, how often we should meet. Should we move our meetings to noon hours, mornings, earlier? Right now we're at 5:30. We want to go right after work? For some people, could be 3:34. And in all those discussions, kind of filtered out that the group would like to have meetings every other month, and we would start in January. So we'd go every other month. So there's 6 meetings a year. The day of the month, we were on the first Monday, and we talked about going to the third Monday of the month, so that gives us a little bit of time with how projects end, turning in bills for the city of Yankton, some different stuff like that. So we like the third Monday a little bit better that way. Talked about the different times of the day, but everybody felt comfortable with 5:30 because every now and then somebody does come to the Park Advisory Board out of the general public, not just the board members. It's few and far between, but every now and then it does happen. In a situation where we had the West Side Park master planning process, and we put those in with the Park Advisory Board, if we're not meeting every month, we could still utilize the months where we do meet, and we could always call a special meeting. Again, we put out an agenda. We do it usually on Thursday or Friday before the Monday. We post it on Facebook. We put it on our website. Again, we try to follow the open meeting laws, even though we don't have a board that's doing any governing, but we try to follow the open meeting laws. So the board felt it would be a good, little bit better, I don't want to say waste of people's time, but a little bit better use of people's time to meet every other month. Again, between phone calls and emails, if things come up, we're pretty good about responding. If somebody in the public has something and they've talked to a Park Advisory Board, they'll call me, they'll email me, whatever the case may be. So nobody felt concerned that we were going to lose the opportunity to give public input to the department or to the city. So that was kind of some of the reasoning. So what we've come down to is every other month, third Monday of the month, keeping it at 5:30. We're still out here at this facility. And then administratively, the old policy talked about making 60% of the meetings in a 12-month period. Well, now we're down to 6 meetings in a month. So instead of going 60, we're saying that Park Advisory Board members need to make 4 out of every 6. If they're not consistently coming, if they're not coming to 4 out of 6 in a 12-month period, then we need to look at finding somebody else to replace them on the Park Advisory Board. So that was a little bit more on the administrative side. But
Thank you, Todd. Any commission discussion on this item? Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Schwan,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Benson,
Aye.
Sarda,
Aye.
Burdick,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Minor,
Aye.
Moser,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye, motion passes. Number 7 under new business is consideration of memorandum 19-237 and resolution 19-67 regarding the collective bargaining agreement. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Amy, do you want to share the highlights of this agreement?
Sure. As most of you know, our current agreement with the bargaining unit is good until December 31st, so we've spent the last probably 6 months with the bargaining unit stewards and our management team negotiating a new language for the new contract. Past years, we've just done salary. This was a full negotiation, so this took a little bit longer. Lots of changes. You know, a negotiation is one of those types of things where no one gets everything they want, so we meet places in the middle. But I think we have some great changes, both for the members of the bargaining unit and for the city as well. And I think we're all pleased with what we came up with. We can talk about any of those details. The one that I think the public will notice or might notice is that one of the things that the bargaining unit negotiated was the addition of an additional holiday and one personal day. That additional holiday, we let them select, and they selected Christmas Eve. So typically, we're open till 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve. That will be the case in 2019. This agreement begins January 1st, 2020. So in 2020, we'll be off on Christmas Eve. Now, that changes if Christmas Eve falls on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. That will turn into a personal day because we have to be a little bit considerate of things like garbage routes and things like that. So we do have provisions for that. But that was, I think, the only probably visible changes. But we have some other changes as well, including things like when we close because of emergencies, changing some of our language from days to hours, because a day for me might be 8 hours, but a day for a police officer or dispatcher might be 10 or 12 hours. So making some of those types of changes to make it a little more consistent. We also changed some things when it came to allowing to make schedule changes. We used to have a 2-week requirement. That's difficult sometimes when situations come up, especially in departments that are small with illness, et cetera, and we have to change people's schedules around. That's to both management's benefit and to the benefit of the employees as well. We also have some changes associated with the Health Insurance Committee and process to make sure we have a date certain by which we'll have a recommendation from the Health Insurance Committee, so we're not backed up into a timeline that we can't meet or administrate. So that, I think, is a change for the better for all of us. So the collective bargaining unit met and voted on these changes already. They've approved tentatively these changes. They're waiting for your decision, and if approved tonight, they'll sign the contract tomorrow morning. So I think we're in good shape. This is a 3-year contract, so we won't be having a full language contract discussion again until I guess the fall of 2022. However, we will be looking at wages in 2021, I believe. For 2022, because our wage agreement was a 3-year agreement. So we're real happy with this. I appreciate everybody's patience and time and thoughtfulness in considering all these changes. It's certainly a long process, but I think we all have the same goal, and we came up with a contract we all can be proud of.
Is there any commission discussion? Thank you to the negotiating team for working on this for the last 6 months. It's pretty laborious, as we know, and I think it worked out well for management and our employees. Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission on this item? Roll call.
Weber,
Aye.
Benson,
Aye.
Sarda,
Aye.
Burdick,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Minor,
Aye.
Moser,
I will abstain. My husband's a city employee.
Schwan,
Aye. Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye. Motion passes. And with that, we've exhausted tonight's agenda. There being no other business, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Thank you very much, everyone, and don't forget your cupcakes.